Welcome back once again to Dadnarok. This is Sean,
And this is Chris.
and tonight we're going to be talking about episode 6 of A Night of the Seven or Nine Kingdoms, depends on who you ask,
Well, first
which
of all,
is the
you got
season
it out.
finale.
Check that out. It only
Yeah,
took
finally.
6 episodes.
Took the whole season to get to it, but there we go. And they changed the title on me. Is it 7 or 9?
Yeah, exactly. Which one is it? Who are we going to believe? We're going to believe Egg or are we going to believe Dunk?
Yeah. But anyway,
Everybody else besides Egg.
oh, yeah. Who are we? You're Dadnarok. I'm Dadnarok. Everyone's Dadnarok.
And we're two old, middle-aged men talking shows. I'm looking at it. It's slipping my brain.
That's why I ask you every week to remind you. Like, all right, old
And,
man, who are we again?
we are active. Throw the comments up there. We will bring
Yeah.
your comments up. It's always more fun if you're commenting live when we're talking about the show. Let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Like I said, Sean already talked about it. We're going to talk about the finale of The Night of the Seven Kingdoms and how that went and what we thought of it. So we say let's dive into this. Let's light this candle.
You let me know that you liked it quite a bit. You were like, you said it stuck the landing or the plane landed or something. You
Yeah, they
liked it.
landed the plane.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt because I was like, okay, we knew all the action happened the episode prior. How are they going to go ahead and reunite Egg and Dunk? And how are we going to go ahead and just kind of end this without at the same level we've been going at? Because this hasn't been a big bolsterous story. We don't need a dragon flying in at the end or, seeing the Night King or something. How are they going to walk away into the sunset like they did? And I thought they did a good job of it. Like I enjoyed the struggle that Dunk had with Baylor dying. I loved the fact that they showed us Makar struggling with him being the one that swung the death blow on his brother.
Right.
So I love that. And then even so much the back and forth between, Egg wanting to stay with Dunk, but Makar not wanting him to go or saying these are my terms. So I enjoyed all of that.
I did like it. I thought it was a solid B. It was not my favorite episode of the season, but it was strong and it ended kind of quietly, but it also ended I do appreciate that we got a nice amount of character beats. Like we learned a lot more about pretty much everyone involved. We tested Dunk and his not his loyalty, but like I don't know, he seemed a little bit lost there, especially towards the beginning of the episode. Even Egg, we almost lost him to the dark side, the dark Targaryen side. That whole scene was very interesting about him pulling the knife up on Arian while he slept, and the father just happened to be in the
Makar
room.
was sitting in the shadows, and then just the human side of it. Like Makar, I think Makar wasn't dumb. I think Makar knew what was going on, and then he just kind of put his hand on his shoulder, and you just seen Egg cry, just being a kid, being overwhelmed by everything.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Hey, what's up, Ronnie? Thanks for joining us.
What's up? Thanks for being here once again. Yeah, like Ronnie here, or Roni, and 2X. Anybody that wants to join us and comment, feel free. We'll respond to you. But yeah, I did think it was a neat character beat. I'm trying to remember the other stuff that happened. The Fossaway guy, the Green Apple, he seems to be doing well for himself now.
Oh yeah, he found someone that was keen on him becoming a knight and surviving the battle, which I guess is gonna happen.
She was a fine woman, all right. Maybe not a lady of wealth or of upper class, whatever. But you know what? I think he ended up all right. He was giving me Podrick vibes. Fossaway was.
No, yeah, that's a good call. I like that. I like the little tent. Well, he was walking up. Yeah, my cousin took the tent. And he climbs out of it, and then Dunk's talking to him after that big, like, awkward hug.
Yeah,
she pops out of it, and he's like, he looks over and says, "Yeah, it's my wife. She's with child." I'm like, "Wow,
that was quick."
Yeah.
I look, man. Life's hard in Westeros. I don't blame her one bit. Like, and if they're able to connect and be
they
together,
connected all right.
They sure did. hey, good for them. He even says, Dunk even says, congratulations before he leaves. He gets pulled away to talk to Makor is his name?
Make art. Yeah. He
Yeah.
goes, he said, we want the word. And that's basically when he went in there and they had the conversation about, Dunk was like, if I would have given up a hand or a foot, would the realm needed that hand or a foot later? Maker was
Yeah.
not likely.
Yeah.
So,
Um, what's the other one too? Baratheon.
yeah,
He
you had
pulled up.
Lionel. Yeah,
He was trying to
Lionel.
draft him. He was trying to recruit him.
Oh, I love the fact he's like, you come with me and I'll love you like a brother. And if you don't come with me, I'll hate you like a brother. So there's more to that. We're gonna get more of those two characters together.
Yeah, either way, you'll like a brother, and they're gonna probably meet at some point in the future. That's what's
But
so exciting about this show is that like this was like a pretty low stakes. I mean, fairly low stakes given the plot of the other shows, where it almost seems like the entire realm is up for grabs. But um, this show had lower stakes, same good character arcs and character depth and character beats. But it was a bit of a slower burn, calmer story. You could tell it came from a novella and not a full novel. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like a short story,
there
like
wasn't
blown
as
up.
much yeah, to pull from.
But that being said, I'm so like game for whatever adventures are coming from these characters. It did just enough to be interesting to be like, okay, well, I can't wait to see where Dunk and Egg go from here, which is
Interesting is
cool.
the word. That's the
Yeah.
word I'm gonna hold on to what you said because I've been hot and cold all season on
Mm-hmm.
the show. I've been
Yeah.
very up and down, and I'm glad that they ended the way they did for me because that made me feel like okay. After seeing Dunk and Egg right away, and then you had Sir Pennytree, hang a left into the field, basically saying, okay, now I'm letting you become your own man. That's what I took from that. Okay, I did. It's like he did everything for him
Yeah.
to get him there, and
Carson
then
C 2428. Hello. Thanks for
thanks
joining
for
us.
thanks for joining us. Now I gotta get back in my train of thought. No,
My bad.
no. When he pulled away and you seen Dunk and Egg walking away, it's like okay, he did everything to get him to this point of being a man. Now it's his
Right.
turn to take on his squire and do the same and pass on the lessons that he taught him.
Yeah, that's right. That's
And
perfect.
where are they going to go? Are they going to wind up in Dorne? I think that'd be awesome to see bring back the whole reason the battle happened. Go to the puppet master, the girl that was there. She went off the Dorne
Oh, yeah, yeah. That would be interesting. That would be a good target for
to
Dunk
see
to head
where
towards.
that goes from there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I felt that. But I felt like it was a good ending to keep me interested on the next season and knowing with the knowledge next season's next year, not 2 years from now, not 3 years from now, next year.
I know. Isn't that great? That's perfect. That's what we're used to. That's what TV used to be like.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you know what I also like too? When we pick up the beginning of season two, it could be one of these things where we pick up right where we left off and they're on their horses on the way to a new land. Or we could pick up, a year later, 2 years later,
Mhm.
where they've had all these adventures in between, and you could kind of pick up with a new adventure and kind of dip out in time and then come back and revisit them to see what they're up to at that point in time. They could really do anything. And I don't know much about, I know that they are based on three novellas that are currently exist. And
Yeah.
George R. R. Martin said that he's willing and able, and he has basically other Dunk and Egg stories like loaded in the chamber. So if it goes beyond three seasons, there's a potential it could go
Well, you know
beyond
how
three
many pissed
seasons.
off people out there would be if he releases those and he can't finish the final Game of Thrones book?
I don't think he cares anymore.
No, I don't. Yeah, I think he's done with that. He's like, you know
I
what? It's
think he is
behind me.
too. I think what it is that he had focused a lot on the original show, and he had notes and stuff for the original showrunners, and I think he saw how viewership, like everybody's wind was taken out of everybody's sails with that final season, and now he's just like he probably doubts that anybody even wants to like see how the books end versus the show. I don't know. It's just it took. I think it took a lot of steam out of him. Not that he had a ton of steam to begin with, because he was already kind of delayed in writing those
Mhm.
things. But I mean, at this point, I could see, a band like being of his age and just wanting to spend the remaining years of his life writing about stuff that he wants to write about. It seems like he doesn't want to write The Winds of Winter.
No, he really doesn't. But back
Yeah.
to the show here, like I enjoyed. There was so much character beats to this,
Yeah.
and the best parts of this episode, I feel like for me, were Makar and Dunk just by themselves.
Mm,
When Makar was, say he's always going to hear the whispers if crops die, and you'd be like, well, Baylor wouldn't have let that happen.
right.
And then Dunk's always going to have the whispers in his head, so he died for him. But it goes full circle back to what Lionel said at the very beginning. Lionel said he wasn't risking anything. He was fighting in a battle with a bunch of guys that swore to protect him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just ironic that the one that didn't swear to protect him was his brother, who was the one that struck the blow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That
I
is
mean, from
wild.
there, yeah, and then you've seen the real human. I'll put it this way: for me, Makar was the best character of this episode
Okay.
because you've seen the human side of this
Yeah.
Targaryen, which you don't see. He wants to go ahead and hold on to Egg. He offers Dunk the ability to squire him as long as he comes back with him, and then they'll
Yeah.
finish his training. And it's
Right.
like his last chance to actually raise a good man. That's essentially how I took it.
Yeah, and he knows the stigma around Targaryens, which seems to be getting worse and worse these days now that the actual dragons are gone. It's going to be
Mhm.
harder and harder for them to hold power, and we do know with Robert's rebellion, eventually their power does come to an end. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And you see the anguish in Makar when he has that conversation with Dunk. He turns to him and he's like, he's my only son, as far as like, or he's the last one I have left,
He's the
basically, is what
last
he
one I
said.
have left. Yeah. My last
Yeah,
chance.
yeah, and you feel that too. And I was actually surprised how they played the ending because there was a moment where I believed Egg when he told Dunk at the end, like, "Oh, hey, my
Mhm.
father's letting me go with you." Like he had to change your heart, and he's like, "This may be the only way," because I thought, well,
Yeah.
maybe Makar thinks this is the only way for Egg to turn out all right if he goes on adventures outside of the castle walls, if
Yeah.
he actually explores the land. But it turns out that's not the case, and Makar did want to hold on, and he was like, he did not allow Egg to go.
To go. No. Egg did his own, again, did his own thing.
Yeah,
So I wonder if there's going to be any, like, if I don't think we're going to pick up right where we left off. There's a hard part of me that really thinks since they're the novellas, I think
yeah,
we're going to pick up, a year or months, forward, and they're going to kind of be in some location. That's where we're going to pick up their story, and it's going
right.
to be another story within that town. But I wonder if there's going to be any repercussions, like we're going to see of Maker looking for Egg again.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel like you would have to follow up, or at least give some kind of nod or mention to the fact that this kid is a prince to the royal family. Like, I mean, that's kind of a big deal, and it's a kind of a, it feels like it's a known thing, but maybe not if it's just kind of confined within this specific tourney. Like how much of the realm actually knows that the squire of Dunk the Tall is, one of the
A
princes.
Targaryen, yeah,
Yeah,
he's got dragon blood. Yeah, no, I think that's probably under wraps as much as they could. But yeah,
yeah.
I mean, even I love how he's like he's punishing Aryan by sending him to the seven cities or the
The free cities, yeah.
free cities. So it's like I thought that was interesting. He's like maybe he'll learn a lesson out there, which I don't think there's gonna be lessons learned from him.
I don't know, yeah. Once it seems like is there such a thing as a good Targaryen? I
I
guess
don't
you'd
know.
have
He
to
got
be the only good Targaryen was the one that was raised by Eddard Stark his entire life, and that was Jon Snow, and that's pretty much the only one we've seen on screen. You have to be
yeah.
raised in Winterfell and raised by Eddard Stark to turn out okay, I guess.
Oh, who is it on Game of Thrones? Maester. He's at the wall. Oh, I forget his name.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, the one I think he's Egg's brother.
Something like that. Yeah, because I know he went ahead and went to the wall and basically pushed his claim aside
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he didn't want to rule or be a part of that, that legacy.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's nice seeing faces to all these names because I can't believe. I mean, the history, the rich history. And we give, Lord of the Rings is kind of similar with the Silmarillion and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of lore, a lot of history. But I swear, George R. R. Martin has written like generations. Like, there's a span of like 600 years where each generation of people is like highly detailed. Like, you get so
Yeah.
many names of all the different families and who begat who and whose sons and fathers of who and who takes over and all these inner skirmishes between families like the Lannisters and all that. Like there's so much of it, and I don't know how they keep track of it all, but they do a good job.
Yeah, that was a fun clip I came across, and someone actually went ahead and clipped together, Dunk and a time was Jamie, and I think it was the little shit king. We
Oh,
couldn't wait to
Joffrey.
die. Joffrey. And we're like, oh, 3 pages for Dunk the Tall, when they were going through the history.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll see some of that. You know who I I have to give it up to, and I don't know if we've really mentioned, but the guy who plays Dunk, he was like a rugby player. The guy is not even really like, well, he's an actor now, but like he was
Yeah.
somewhat fresh. Like he was, I guess, a rugby player that couldn't play rugby anymore, and he got the part. This part, I think I mean, he killed it. He
Oh,
is
he
this
nailed
character, dude.
the part. No, absolutely. He was
Yeah,
the actors that they picked to play these roles nailed these roles.
yeah,
There's no doubt in my mind that just like, you know what? And I like how there were unknowns for the most part. Like I like how they went out there and they didn't throw, just a known name in there just for the sake of it.
right. Yeah, and I think Game of Thrones has done that pretty successfully. I mean, they've made stars. I think with only kind of an exception of a few. Like I know, like Peter Dinklage was kind of a name before Game of Thrones. He had been in some stuff, and then the guy is his name Matt Fraction. I don't know. The guy who plays in kind of the main guy in the House of Dragons. He was like a Doctor Who at some point. Like he's a famous British actor. But a lot of the roles they do cast in these shows, they end up being pretty big actors.
Yeah. So okay. So now that it's said and done, 6 in, 6 out. What was your overarching like opinion of the show?
Solid all the way through. Solid, enjoyable. I think it's probably now that it's not coming out week to week, I think it's probably even more enjoyable if you were to binge watch it just straight through as
Mm,
kind of a long movie you could do in like, one or two sittings.
yeah.
I think it works on that level, and I think it's just a great introduction to a couple of characters. It's fun because these two characters are famous in Westeros as far as like their legend lives on. It's like in the time of the original series, Dunk and Egg must have had. I think they did. They had like books written about him and stuff. They were like a known entity. Like Dunk is a famous knight. So to see how that happens, and I don't know, it's just very interesting. And they did enough with the story, with the action, with the direction, and the casting specifically to really draw us into these characters. And I think it hit. I think complete success as far as what you would want to do with a series like this.
I don't know if I am as glowing about it as you are, but I'm sad that it's done. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that right there is telling. Like if
Yeah.
you're looking forward to a weekly, and now that you know it's not going to be there, the following week, that says something. I
Yeah.
think it was more of a roller coaster, in my opinion. It was more up and down. I think the
Mm-hmm.
highs were much higher than any of the lows for me.
Yeah.
So that I think that's a good thing. And with them landing the plane at the end, I think that was very now if they would have completely botched the final episode, I may feel completely different.
Yeah.
It, but I feel like they did a good job overall, and it makes me want to know where they're going from here. Like, are we like I know it was impossible for me not to look further into Egg's future.
Yeah.
So knowing what I know about Egg's future, I kind of want to see. There's going to have to be a point where they split, but how long will they be together? What will be, you know, the future shows? Like, what kind of stories are out there to be told? And I kind of really still wish that this was kind of one of those things that we found a family. in I don't know, in Dorne, or you name the city,
Mm-hmm.
and they're sitting down and they got a book open, and the
Right.
kids are
Yeah.
like, it's like a bedtime story type thing, and they're
Yeah.
telling the kids the history of these characters, these historical figures in their world.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I think one misstep, but I mean that's not even really a misstep. That wasn't the way they were going.
One wild thing about this episode that I'd get your opinion on, how it opened up with like the jazz music and then like closed out with like some sort of like not a pop song, but something that was like definitely not like, Game of Thronesy strumming of old instruments. Like they had like contemporary music playing in this episode. Did you notice that?
Honestly, I didn't even notice.
No.
It wasn't. It didn't even. Now I was gonna try to watch it again because I watched it Friday night when it came out. Not
Yeah.
Friday night. I'm sorry. Sunday night when it came out. I'm getting that and another show confused. But I wanted to watch it again because it has been a couple days, so getting a fresh pair of eyes on it again. But yeah, no, the music wasn't something that stood out to me at all.
If you watch it again, how the episode opens and closes very strange. It just seemed off kilter to me because it wasn't orchestral. It wasn't like, old harps or anything. It was like straight up like jazz music.
When you say that when it opens up, I was just picturing Lionel saying to the mason, "You couldn't even heal an itchy butt crack." I
I
love
know.
his character. We did not get enough of Lionel. We didn't get
Yeah.
any of him fighting. We know like he's such a formidable fighter. We didn't get any of that. So how he survived, and we lost uh, 3 on Dunk's side died. So it's Baylor and there's other 2 they showed.
Yeah.
And I mean, just the level of like you can tell a brother. There's been like a brotherly love set up between Lionel and Dunk from the very beginning when he sat down at the table and he was drinking with them and just like
Yeah.
how to get into this mess or what am I doing, to all the way through from the tug of war to the battle, now to sitting under the tree and him saying come with me, which I thought that's where I thought this was going. I thought he was going to leave with Lionel under the
Yeah.
Baratheon banner, and it almost came to fruition. I still think at some point he's going to have to fight under a banner. He's not going to be a hedge knight this whole time. He's
Interesting. Yeah.
he's going to get some type of knighthood under some big family banner. Now, if he stays there a long period of time, that's a whole different story.
Right.
But I think some type of event's going to take place in that world where he's going to have to basically determine his allegiance until
Yeah.
that event is complete.
Yeah, and it's interesting just the idea of a hedge knight, right? Just like every knight that we've seen so far in Westeros and in Game of Thrones, they've been dedicated to a house or, they've been in the Knight's Guard. They haven't been like the wanderer or the outcast or the outlander or like the wandering Jedi in a Star Wars story or something. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's just like they're part of some order, some faction, there's part of some house. So I mean, this is like honestly, this setup is the kind of show that like old school shows in like the 70s, used to be like the Shogun and stuff like that. Just
Yeah.
kind of like The Wanderer, like the original, like the Incredible Hulk, or just like the guy wanders from town to town, like helping out the civilians there and kind of moves on and like his legend grows, throughout Westeros from one town to the next.
That
Um,
would be fun to see though. Now that he's out of that town,
yeah,
the rumblings and this all of a sudden the stories start being told. The
yeah,
secondhand stories of like some people that are pissed off at him because Baylor died with him, fighting for him, and then there's some people that are like thrilled that he survived, and Baylor died because a Targaryen, and not everyone likes a Targaryen. So
yeah.
um, I would like to start
Maybe
seeing that in the backside.
Maybe we'll get a montage. Maybe before we get into the season 2 proper, they'll open up with a montage of Dunk and Egg going from town to town and helping people out here and there, and Dunk letting his hair grow out because I know that's coming.
I was gonna
It's good.
I was gonna say, will Egg grow his hair out? That's what you meant, Egg, right?
No, I meant Dunk.
Oh, Dunk is
What?
gonna grow his hair out. Okay.
Yeah, and Dunk. in the novellas, Dunk has long hair, which it's like whatever, the actor didn't have long hair. You don't have to do that. But
Yeah.
but I've seen interviews with the guy, and the guy's got like a flowing mane now. He looks like an '80s
Oh,
rock star.
so they're already going with the, shooting the next season probably, or getting ready
Yeah,
to, so they can have it. And that's the thing, since there's no big dragons, the budget doesn't have to be super high. The CG
right.
there is, I mean, essentially there is no CG needed for these shows.
Hmm.
So it just makes it quicker, quicker turnaround. Which, like you said, it's does. If they were only going to give us 6 though, and the budget's lower, and there's no it's very low CG, I wish they'd give us minimum of 10.
That's fair, but I also like there's some kind of sweet spot. You know what I mean? Like if they did give us 10, then we probably wouldn't be getting it in a year from now. It would be 2 years. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I also like if you can make it like this and it's 6 episodes and there's not a lot of fat, you know what I mean? Like I know
yeah.
you didn't like the backstory in when he was younger and the girl and stuff. And you may consider that fat, but I felt like the storytelling was really tight and there wasn't a lot of filler. And it was just like if you could have that in a tight 6 episodes where the budget's not too high and you're able to release them like every year, like we have a season per year, boy, oh
Mhm.
boy, yeah, I'd be a fan of that.
You know what? Yeah, I would sacrifice an episode or two to know that we're getting it yearly. And
Yeah.
even though they were short episodes, it felt like at times they were the perfect length episodes for what they were telling.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like I remember watching cuz Mandalorian's kind of like that, where some episodes are like 35 minutes and then some episodes are like 50 minutes. Like the length of time for like Mandalorian episodes is kind of all over the place. And
Yeah,
I remember watching some episodes and by the end of it I'm just like, "God, what? That's it?" Like like and feeling gypped because it's like you wait week to week to week and then you get like
yeah,
kind of like a 20-minute nothing burger and you're like, "Damn it." But this never felt that way. This was like, even though they were shorter than like an hour-long episode, you felt full. It felt like a full meal
mhm,
every episode.
yeah. Even the episodes I didn't like, I felt like it was the proper length for what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like anything more, I would have been like, "Ugh." I was like, "Okay, we could have cut a lot out of this." But outside of that, I mean, it was what it was, and I at the end of it, I'm smiling. I'm happy it happened. I'm glad we watched it, and I'm ready for next season.
Well, I don't think we can say any much more than that. So we will, when it comes back, we'll probably come back and cover it.
I I think we're gonna come back. And guys, there's right now we got 14 live.
Yeah.
We're trying to get to we just broke our 600 mark after many of years. If you guys can help us along to get to that next hurdle of 700, that'd be awesome. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, we haven't had really any comments. Comment along on us. We enjoy us. Let us know we suck or let us know your opinion. Either or, we're all about it. We're gonna
Yeah, we're
you want to keep your eyes open on the channel because we're not quite sure what we're doing next, but we'll have something out.
we're too small for a paywall. So yeah, comment so we can talk with you when we're live. But yeah, like Chris said, we're going to be back. We're not quite sure what we're going to be back to cover.
Hmm.
I know you and I had talked about because over the holidays we did Misfit movies where we were talking about a lot of the holiday Christmas movies that weren't as famous as the most famous
Yeah,
ones like Home Alone and Christmas Vacation and stuff.
we did Medea's
Which
Christmas, which was fantastic.
yeah, so memorable. We opened up with Medea's Christmas.
Yes, we did on purpose.
But you and I talked about that would be something fun to extend outside the holidays. Just talk about, movies that either we haven't seen in a long time, haven't been on the public interest for a long time,
Mhm.
or something that we remembered fondly from our childhoods, maybe haven't watched in a while, see if it still holds up, that kind of thing. So maybe carrying forward the Misfit Movies moniker a little bit more into the new year too. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, no, that sounds like it's something that would be enjoyable. Sometimes,
Yeah.
doing these shows can be you're looking there like, oh, like if we've bailed on a few of these shows. We're watching it like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
We're done. We can't continue cover. You can't continue covering this.
Yeah, and sometimes it's tough too because it's like, you pick a show, okay, we're gonna cover the show, and then
Mhm.
it's like a 10-week commitment, and you're like, okay, we're gonna do this for 10 weeks, and it's gonna cover the next 2 months, 2.5 months, and sometimes it's nice to just do like a one and done. Like, okay, that was it for that week, and
Yeah.
it's easier on our schedules as as dads.
Oh, and soccer season's ramping up, so man, I'm not gonna have a minute
Yeah,
to breathe.
I know.
Well, I think that's about all we got, for the Night of the Seven Kingdoms until next season. So, you got anything? Any parting words of wisdom?
Dong in the hand is worth two in the bush.
We'll roll with that.